So in this project, we want to bring together the very rich heritage of the parish of Gleann Cholm Cille, particularly the local field names. There's an incredibly rich collection of local names that go way beyond what you would find normally. And what's really important here is that the Irish language is still very active in the area, so there's a very close relationship between the names, which are almost entirely in Gaelic, and the knowledge of the local community. So there's a really strong connection that in other parts of the country has been lost. So this richness is something that's really important to gather and to make available. And in this project, what we want to do is to first of all have a look at the names that are known. And there's a couple of very rich sources that we can go to for that. One is a map that was produced by a man called Dan McGinley some 20 odd years ago. And that maps out in a very dense format the locations of a huge number of local names. And he has a map in Gleann Cholm Cille and he has a map in the Thionscadal area. And together in those maps, he probably has more than 3,000 local names. In parallel with that and overlapping significantly with it, we have a source from a book produced recently by Shawty Watson, which has got many of the same names, but it doesn't have the locations. It's based on a collection that was made by a man called Sean O'Neill, and he was doing a PhD here back in the 1970s, I think. And again, there's more than 3,000, maybe 4,000 names, something like that. Now, so we've got two sources. We've got the book, which has the names and the translations and lots of information about these names, but it doesn't have the exact locations. It has the townlands. And then, on the other hand, we have Dan McGinley's map, which has got a lot of the same names, and it has the locations. So what we want to do is bring both of these together into a digital map. So if you like, what we want to do is gather the rich information about this very dense field name collections and bring them together into a digital map. And that digital map will then provide very simple access to this very, very rich landscape of heritage that exists in this area still. So if you like, we're bringing technology together with heritage and making it accessible to the local community, to anyone who wants to access this fantastic collection of information.
We're just looking at phoiblí Stille, an exact hole in the ground where I've been told in this area in the past chun was made. So I was told just to listen out for water underground and you'll find the hole. So that looks like an exact hole on all sides. So it's great to find it. Just at the pull here, phoiblí Stille, and you can see on all sides, completely concealed. So no wonder it was considered a good place to make a bit of potching.
Insíonn go bhfuil an táma agin an obair seo a dhéanamh. So tá teanga beá sa ceantar seo go fáil, ach níos go láide má bhí. So tá ólas, severas an ólas tá sé ag imeacht. Agus tá imní oran go mé kitmód in an ólas seo na scéaltaí mar hampla béisi cáte agin ribh so bhfuil a bheith caint le na daoine sean daoine na haite agus agus an óla seo a bhailiú le chéile, agus os churamach an léarscáil. As mai le dúthas agus technoliacht ag teach le chéile, agus bé daoine ábalta an óla seo ag ar an Idirlinn na mar hampla. So in addition to the collections that we have, these extensive collections, there's also information that's still not fully collected. So there are gaps in the knowledge, and there's particular regions that might not be mapped as well as others. And even in the well-mapped areas, there's gaps in the information. And we're very lucky to have support from local people who've been active in that area, people like Seamus McGill, who's shared collections that he's made that augments what we already have. And also we're doing field work within the project. We have Seamus McGinley from Carrick and Ronan Galvin, who are both collecting names in the area and stories and information and linking these together. Ronan, for example, is collecting information up around Mionlogainmneacha, which wasn't mapped as in the same detail as Ghleann Cholm Cille and Thionscadal, and picking up lots of very interesting stories and names in that area, which will go onto the map. So this is information that wasn't collected before. So it teaches us that this type of work is work that really never finishes, because the amount of information that we have here is so rich. So there's a big job of work to be done, and what we're doing in the project is beginning that journey. We're putting the foundations in place of the digital formats that will be used to store and access this information, and also allow it to grow and use the templates that are developed with our colleagues in Dublin City University to create, if you like, best practice on how we should actually archive and make this information accessible in a scalable manner that could be also adopted by other interested groups around the country.
So this is an Coithiach. As far as I know, it goes up. It's a type of ravine close to Drogheda. And Drogheda, there's a lovely pool just here, and then it flows down at the bottom, down towards Drogheda. So it's a place name that's not listed in Sean O'Neill's work, so it's great to find it. It's a lovely pool here as well, underneath. And Coithiach.
So in terms of the of the management of the project and getting it up and getting it running, what we've done is establish a very good link with a team at Dublin City University, led by Susan Hegarty and Jonathan Cherry. We have two very talented young students. These are geographers, Leah and Emma, who've been working on integrating at least as much of the information as we can into the format and making it accessible on the map. It'll only be a fraction of the total amount of information, because we have a very limited time to do this and resource to do it. But I think what it will do is illustrate the power of what can be achieved, and we'll continue to work on this afterwards to get more information into it and to build it into a resource that can be used, as I said, by local people or anybody who wants to access it. So we were very lucky this year that a number of things happened that allowed us to get this work up and going. First of all, there was the actual pandemic that freed up people's time and allowed them to begin to discuss this, even over Zoom meetings. We managed to get an interested group of people together. But we also then were able to put together an application into the Heritage Council for funding, which was successful. And that provided us with a resource to enable the field work to get going and to link in with the team at Dublin City University. We also then got support from Donegal County Council, and this is Gleann Cholm Cille, so there's a particular focus on local heritage, place names and stories associated with Cholm Cille, which of course there's lots of in the area, so that's an important piece of work that links into what we're doing very nicely. We also have support from Bell and Fhoiblí, so it's a local initiative to promote the Irish language, and that's supported through placenames, Aisling Ní. So we've also, on top of that, we've a lot of support just generally from local people. There's tremendous interest in this, and I think that one of the big challenges we'll have when we have the project in good enough shape to actually officially launch it locally is the amount of information and interest that is out there in the community and how that can be managed. Because if we get this right, it really makes a beautiful connection between heritage, community, education, local schools, research into our heritage, and promoting our heritage, which is unique, I think, in Europe. The richness that we have here, the link between the language, the Irish language, and our heritage. So from a tourist point of view, cultural tourism is scoring number one as the reason why most people come to visit Ireland. It's to do with the culture of the country. And often when you live in the midst of the culture, you don't realise how important this is because you grow up with it. But if you're able to project that back, you get the information, you store it, you make it accessible, and then that is in a way protecting that heritage going into the future, because now we can archive it, we can bring it back to life. In areas that have become depopulated, we can show that this richness was there, and who knows, maybe people will come back into those areas and they will then be able to inherit this richness which has been kept for them.